RBL Weekly back on the air. Pat Barker, the Roast Battle League commissioner here as always. And look who I found.
I'm back.
Sarah Keller was wandering around outside, so we said, come on back in. We're sick of having guests. Let's get you back on the show. Where have you been? What's going on?
It was my birthday. Well, it was your birthday, too.
It was my birthday, too. I was
But
here.
I went out of town to celebrate my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Well, Indiana, which is like not, and then Minnesota. But I had the most epic birthday ever. Okay, woke up. Obviously, you shouldn't say that because every day starts with you waking up.
Not every day.
Not every day. But like,
Not
if I'm
every
still
day.
here
That's a good
talking,
day. That's a good day when you wake up.
Got a gluten-free cupcake that was life-changing. Because I have to.
Oh, right. This isn't like a trendy LA
no.
thing. Like, I can't do gluten. She really can't.
Yep. Then got a massage. Then went and shot guns with my brother. Then went extreme go-karting. And then went axe throwing.
That is the most split down the middle LA/Indiana, Minnesota birthday possible. Little bit of everything there.
It was incredible.
Kid Rock's head would explode at the sentence, I ate a gluten-free cupcake and then shot guns.
Yep.
Be like, I don't know whether to marry this woman or fucking murder her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a conundrum.
Well, that's a hell of a birthday. I'm glad you're back now, though.
Yeah.
That's
glad to be
great.
back. How was your birthday?
It was cool. We went up
40.
40. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Should I not put that?
No,
We
it's
could
okay.
Edit that out, Cody.
It's okay. It's all
You're
good.
not a woman, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I tell my wife, because my wife tries busting my balls, and she's like, you're going to be, like, leading up to it, she's like, you're going to be 40. I was like, you're 37 and a woman, which is older.
Yeah, that's like 60.
Somehow. I can't
think.
explain
Yeah.
how it works,
Yeah.
but.
Sorry, Tiff.
No, it was good. We went up to San Francisco just for a quick weekend. Didn't really do much. We were in a nice hotel, and they upgraded us when they heard it was my birthday.
Ooh.
36th floor, overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz and all that. It was just gorgeous.
Was Grafton with you or just the two of
No,
you?
fuck no.
Oh, that's nice.
No, we don't take him anywhere. He doesn't want to go anywhere, and I want to get away from him in the best way possible. I love him. He's awesome. I'm not... A couple days is perfect. We are going to be going away for a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up end of this month. I don't know if I've said this on the pod. I might have alluded to it, but Tokyo is coming up. June 2nd is the next big event in Tokyo. Sarah Keller and myself, along with Paige Wesley and Greg Roque, two LA Roast Battle legends, heading over to the Far East to take on 4 of their best. I'm excited, man. It's coming together. It's really, I think we're going to be doing a live RBL Weekly while we're out there, some stand-up, and, of course, the battles. You getting excited? Are you nervous? What are you feeling?
I'm excited. Yeah. Because, like, I'm stoked we get to do a little bit of everything. Like you were saying, like stand-up, we get to judge, we get to battle, we get to do a podcast. I've been Googling, like, things I want to go see in Japan, and I'm stoked. Like, there's, like, a really cool beach that's, like, an hour away that has, like, blue water that I want to go to. And it's going to be cherry blossom season, which my head almost exploded with excitement when I read that.
We were talking about that, and we didn't look it up, but Tiff was like, yeah, I think we just missed cherry blossom season.
No.
But it's in?
I feel like because it's the same, like, time
Well,
of
if
year
you
as
check,
this.
you're right. We just guessed. So.
Maybe did. I don't remember if I checked or not.
Regardless, there's going to be... I'm so excited to be too big for everything. Just too fat to sit in any chairs or sleep in any beds with their little tiny Japanese shit. It's all made for people who are like 5'4" and 78 pounds, and I'm going to feel like a monster. It's going to be awful.
Well, that's funny because my brother lived in Hong Kong and then did like a lot of work in Tokyo and stuff. And he was saying, he's like, yeah, you're going to be surprised because Japanese people are taller than you expect.
Really?
Yeah.
But skinny?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have like portion control and like self-control, I think.
Sounds awful.
Outside of America.
Otherwise, I'm looking forward to Tokyo. I'm looking forward to getting out there and battling. It's really, really cool that the RBL, the Roast Battle League, has expanded to the point where, like, this is a thing.
Yeah, we get to go to, like, Asia.
This is a thing. Yeah, we just went to Austin. We're going to Tokyo. I'm hoping to make it out to Chicago before the end of the year. We had, we've had people from the Bay Area and Chicago and Austin come out to LA to roast. I judged in New York earlier this year. Just, like... It's really cool that this community is coming together. And Tokyo actually just ran their first event of this RBL season. We're going to be seeing some footage later on from Tokyo for the first time.
All right.
Very excited. I got to watch the entire event. One of the best they've ever had. And hopefully we can top it come June. So if you're in Tokyo for whatever reason on June 2nd, come out to the Tokyo Comedy Bar to see us battle. If you're in Austin, May 27th, 28th, we're running 2 shows, 27th at Vulcan, 28th at the Mothership, and we are bringing people from all 6 American RBL cities into Austin that weekend. We're doing Denver, New York, LA, Chicago, the Bay, and of course Austin itself. It's going to be like a 2-day roast spectacular. So definitely come check that out. Let's start with Austin this week. So this is the number 5 battle. This is from the event that we went to at the Comedy Mothership last month. Third battle we're seeing from this particular event. And this was an interesting one. I judged this one, and this was the first time I watched it back since I judged. And sometimes you watch it and you get a second sort of opinion the second time around. So I'm excited to check it out. I want to get your thoughts on what you saw and who you would have voted for if you were in that seat. This is from Austin. It's Heather Keith versus Matt Bellac. And it's number 5 battle this week. Here it is.
Battle!
Matt looks like he makes his pet lizard lick peanut butter off his balls.
It's pretty fun. You gotta try it. Oh, look at Heather. Heather has the face only a mother could love and the body only her stepfather could fuck. He got her.
Matt looks like he would write you a poem about how bad he wants to rape you.
Look at Heather. So Heather has an eating disorder, you know. She'd be eating this order, that order, my order, your order. She'd be in everyone's order, you know?
I'd rather look like a pig than a wet sloth.
I'm glad we put lipstick on a pig tonight. That's nice. You look nice today, yeah.
Matt looks like he owns a shitty record store that has a bunch of signs that say my pronouns are AC, DC.
We sell her record, Fupa Lipa, everybody. We sell her record there, yeah. Hold on now. I gotta roast this pig. Let's go. Easy. As you can imagine, Heather gets hangry very easily. No, you would not like to see her when she's hungry. She turns into the Incredible Bulk. No, but we can all make sure that never happens. If you want to sponsor Heather, you can for the low price of only $3,000 a day. We can make sure she never goes hungry again.
Cool. Matt has bags under his eyes, but he's just really tired, you guys. He was up all night watching child porn.
It's free. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Heather, she's not attractive, but Heather never in her life has ever been catcalled. But when she walks by, guys do yell at her. They go, sweep! Last joke.
You just look like me with a beard. Shut the fuck up. Matt does look like Jesus. If Jesus died for, fuck. Matt looks like Jesus if the only sin he died for was creeping on his fucking. I should have just stopped at you looking like me with a beard. But all right.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. God damn it. Matt looks like Jesus if the only sin he died for was peeping on his hot cousin.
Pretty good. I get one more, right? Yeah. So, Heather's Heather loves pegging her boyfriend. There's nothing happier than a pig and shit.
All right, so that was a number 5 battle from Austin, Heather versus Matt. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask who you voted
So
for.
I voted for Heather.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain, and I want to get your opinion on a fundamental characteristic of judging. And I'm not sure you can quantify it, but we're going to try. So watching it back, the reason I took it away from Matt, in the moment, I really enjoyed both of their jokes. And Matt had more crowd reaction. The thing that took away from Matt for me was the eating disorder joke, because it felt very much like an old internet joke. And
Yeah.
I feel like I said that in my judging. Like, I feel like I heard that joke. It's one thing for us to watch this and be like, well, we heard that joke because we've watched 1,000 roast battles. But that joke is straight out of, it's a street joke. That's like, I feel like I heard my dad say that joke to me when I was 7, right? Watching it back now, what I want to ask you is, what percentage of your judgment is the crowd reaction? Because if we're talking about crowd reaction, Matt clearly outpaced Heather. Heather's 2 biggest crowd reactions were from saying, "You look like me with a beard," which is an astute observation and true, and negates some of his stuff, but at the same time, not one of her written jokes, and then laughing her way through her last joke, which was very likable. But in terms of the actual jokes, Matt clearly got a bigger reaction throughout the battle. Is crowd reaction alone enough for you to be like, well, I can't not vote for this person?
My 100% honest answer is like, it depends on who I like more. Look, I try to be unbiased in what I judge, but like, we're humans, so like, we're gonna be. So honestly, like, the crowd reaction will either be a justification for voting for the person I want, or I like more, or whatever, or well, the crowd just doesn't know what they're talking about. I do think that this battle is a very interesting example of that, because personally, like, yeah, Matt, every single joke basically crushed, but I thought they were very, like, elementary, where Heather, I mean, he called her a pig 5 different times in a 5-joke battle.
Yeah.
And I was very bored with that.
I have a thought on that too, but continue what you're saying.
And even though like some of the jokes were really good, it just was by the 3rd time I'm like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And Heather hit him from a lot of different angles. And so I was a little irritated with the crowd of like, why are you laughing at this juvenile shit when Heather is delivering very well-crafted, well-written jokes?
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I'm like, but this is a show and we're judging who won.
Yeah.
Something that's supposed to be entertaining. So arguably it should be the person who entertained the crowd the loudest, even if the crowd is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. It's really hard to sort of figure out how much you weigh the crowd reaction. I think for me, it's probably 70% of the battle, and in this case, the other 30% was like tilted in the other direction. But watching it back a second time, I'm starting to have a little bit of second thoughts. Like, he did have some really good jokes. The face only a mother could love, body only the stepfather could fuck, I thought was really, really good. My thought on the pig thing was his closer was about pegging her boyfriend pig and shit.
Yeah.
Which is a really good joke.
Yes.
And I wonder if he was doing because all the other pig references were throwaways. First, she said, I'd rather look like a pig than before he even called her a pig. And then he's like, well, we put lipstick on a pig. And then he's like, I got to roast this pig. I don't know if he was trying to set it up as like a callback kind of thing, or it took me 3 times of watching the battle before I started having that thought process. So yeah, the first time I watched it, I thought it was the same thing. I'm like, well, we called her a pig a lot of times.
Yeah. See, and to me, it felt like he wrote a bunch of pig jokes, chose the last one as the pig joke, but then was like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing it during the battle as like a panic move. But he also had she doesn't get catcalled, but she does here.
That's a great point.
So.
That's a great point. That's another pig joke that I forgot.
Yeah. It felt like a lot of them.
Okay.
But.
Yeah, I stick by my decision. I think Heather, for me, but that's why the judging is so, subjective. Ultimately, there's no way to really determine who won or lost a battle. because if the goal is to make the crowd laugh, I think in Matt's eyes, he could be like, well, I did more of that. I deserve to win. And I'm not mad at that thought process. I just, it was interesting to me.
Yeah, if she hadn't had the "Well, you look like me with a beard," you would have had to have given it handedly to Matt, regardless of how you felt about the jokes or anything. But because she had that and then her adorable laughter, that made it a little bit closer.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like that's like a pick six in football. Like if you're playing Madden and you intercept the ball and the screen turns around, like the whole game shifts in that moment. That is, I'll explain it later. That is what that moment was like to me. So super fun battle, great time. Not sure if either of them will be battling in Austin on the 27th or 28th. Still waiting on some word for that. I hope so. Would like to see. We've seen a bunch of Heather on this show. This was my first time seeing Matt. And as long as you get rid of those couple popsicle stick jokes, dude, you're a fucking killer.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see more. Let's go to the number 4 battle this week. And this is in Chicago with a couple of our favorites. And it's an interesting battle. This is Gabriel Alviso, who just came to L.A. He battled twice in 3 nights, battled at the Comedy Store, then battled at Jam in the Van, had 2 excellent showings. And he is going against Jess Misitano, who I don't know if we've seen on the program before, but I've seen her stuff. She's excellent. She will be in Austin on the 27th, battling Zach Stein from L.A.
Wow.
Which is going to be great. But this is the number 4 battle this week, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So let's just check it out. Chicago, number 4, here it is.
2, 3, go! Jessica looks like if Miss Piggy broke up the Muppets because she fucked Kermit's brother.
Can I just say it's an honor to be roasting Jesus if his crucifixion was depicted as an act of terrorism?
That's great because you have the body of the not-so-virgin Mary, so that is awesome.
Like the fuck.
Just looks like if the Cash Me Outside girl stayed inside and got addicted to fentanyl. So.
He talks about fentanyl like in every roast. Like, are you that uncreative, or are you just pushing the family business?
She's the reason I'm staying in business, so that is...
I do like drugs.
Dude, Jess looks like if Dog the Bounty Hunter got kicked out of Sephora because she was trying to do blackface on herself in the mirror. So.
What do you even say to that, you know? Look at this walking, talking ShamWow, you know? You look like a shag rug in a crack house. How are you the janitor, the mop, and the bitch that hired you? He reminds me, I need to clean out my drain. He looks like what I yank out of the drain after I shave my ass, you know?
Drain is code for her vagina, so that is... Dude, you look like if Princess Fiona was locked in the back of a Hot Topic instead of a castle. Which is funny, because she has Donkey's ass and Lord Farquaad's face.
This little guy, look at this little tyke. You know, I bet when you eat pussy, you do it on your tippy toes, you know? You know, in his stand-up, Gabe talks a lot about, like, getting molested and trying to kill himself, so he got positive mental attitude tattooed on his stomach, which is what he tried to convince himself as his uncle worked him like a puppet. Turn this boy into a man! Kinda.
Jessica says that she fucks Mexican guys, but I don't believe it. I think the only reason a Mexican would be attracted to Jess is because she's built like a truck and he's trying to steal her catalytic converter.
Joke's on him, it's already been stolen, so...
Or because she has huge melons and he wants to sell them on the side of the road.
Give it up for Suge Knight's prison bitch, everybody. I'm not saying you're gay, but if you're in prison, you'd be holding a lot of pockets, dude. Speaking of, here's mine. Hold it, bitch. Yeah.
Jess has a TV credit. She was one of the prisoners in the show Scared Straight.
Fuck you. Cinderessa.
All right. Amy Adams apple.
Pippi Longchancla. Hans Cholo. You look like you'd steal my identity, then use it to tell my horoscope. Gabe looks like he pays for abortions using stolen credit cards.
Jess looks like she has a rewards card at Planned Parenthood.
Yeah. My next one's free. All right. Let's see. Hang on a second.
Do that one. Do that one.
Do this one? Yeah. I already did that. I did that one. Gabe's dick. I don't know.
Don't believe her. Not true.
Yeah. Gabe's dick is a lot like boxed wine and Xanax. Dude, it smells like a gangbang in here. I'm sorry.
You would know what that smells like.
Absolutely. Gabe's dick's a lot like boxed wine and Xanax. Both have been inside a lot of sad white women who will never remember it the next day.
All right, we should wrap this up. Jess has to get back to the parking lot. She left her kid locked in the car with the windows rolled up.
Yeah. What are we on?
I don't know.
Fucking all right. I'll do that. Was it one more? I don't know.
One more, last one.
Okay, yeah. That's why your dad abandoned you like a Tijuana street dog.
She's talking about my dad. She looks like she has a tribal tattoo on her lower back that says "Daddy Issues." Jess looks like a Sons of Anarchy character trying to get her shit together. I don't know.
That was really funny, Gabriel. Oh no, dude! Gabe's dad died from alcoholism. I mean, if my son started dressing like a lesbian Che Guevara, I'd also drink myself to death.
Dude.
What was his drink of choice? The Tequila Last Sunrise? It's really sad. His dad wanted to be here tonight, but I guess his liver had other plans.
At least my dad had a reason for leaving. Hers just laughed.
All right, so that was number 4. Chicago main event, 7 jokes. They went longer than 7. I think that was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, that seemed like more.
Went on a long time, and I've never seen a battle so clearly divided into halves. That was the thing that jumped out at me. Jess dominated the first half, while Gabriel rattled off 4 consecutive, you look like a fictional character with an alternate ending that involved doing drugs somewhere.
Yeah.
Every joke was exactly, you look like Miss Piggy, and then Shrek.
And one of the things I wrote down is you're doing looks like jokes for things that she doesn't look like. Like, eventually in the second half, he hit with like the Fiona, but the first half I was like, she does not look like Dog the Bounty Hunter who did. I was like, no, like she doesn't. There were so many that I was like, that doesn't hit for me.
He was just throwing everything at the wall, and I was so worried halfway through. I was like, this is going to be a murder. And then in the second half, he used completely different material.
Yeah.
And crushed it.
Yeah.
And then they both kind of landed knockout punches at the end. The old movie cliche where the boxers hit each other at the same time and kind of fall down with the whole, like, your dad died, your dad left, blah, 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 blah. But it was really crazy to me how it was divided along kind of those lines. Before I ask a specific question about that, what were your thoughts on the battle as a whole?
I think the exact same thing hit me that you were just talking about, was that, like, in the beginning, I was like, oh, Jessica's destroying him.
Right.
And especially, I know you're not a looks like guy. They're my favorite. So to hear 5 in a row that, like, weren't accurate to me was like, oh, dude, like, because it felt so much like, oh, you wrote these jokes about someone else and now you're just saying them because you want to, as opposed to like, oh, you tailored these jokes for Jessica. And but then, yeah, it switched, and like the catalytic converter joke was
so good.
Incredible.
So good.
And I thought Jessica started off very, very likable. She was very commanding. Like, to me, it was like, oh, this is her stage and he's just on it. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end, it 100% flipped.
Yeah, she's checking her notes. She's stopping in the middle of jokes to explain why she's sweating.
Yes.
Which maybe in the room was noticeable. On video, I would have never noticed it.
Yeah, I can't smell the gangbang from here. So, yeah, and like, Gabe 100% stole her power when he said, do that one, which was a great moment. And also like such a great underhanded way of being like, you're checking your notes without saying it. Like,
Yeah.
that was a moment.
It was a really good one. Jess ended up winning the battle. I think that her last minute sort of comeback at the end where she hit like 2 or 3 in one joke, landed 2 or 3 big shots was what steered it in the room in her favor. I don't even know how to call that one. I guess my question for you is when you're sitting down and you're putting together a set list, you come up with your jokes, whether it's 5 or 7 or whatever. The thing that I found crazy about Gabe was he wrote 4 very similar jokes and did them back to back to back to back to start off, as opposed to spacing them out. Does that make sense? Like,
No, 100%.
if you have similar jokes on a similar topic or structurally, does that enter into your thinking, like
100%.
spacing them out?
Yeah, like story arc, especially with 5, as opposed to like the 3-rounder, which was a entirely different strategy. With 5, like, I want to open really strong. And like personally, I like to open either really fucking mean and just tell the audience right away, like I'm kicking the door down and I'm going to be this person.
Yeah.
Or really silly.
Right.
But like, if I have 2 that are back to back or that are similar, it depends on the jokes. Because if they build on each other, then I'm going to do them back to back. But if they're just the same topic but don't have anything to do with each other, then I'm spacing them out.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Sometimes you got to put them together because one is dependent upon the other.
Yes.
And in other cases, it's almost like, man, even if I'm battling, let's say I'm battling, a Mexican, and I get lazy and 4 of my 5 jokes are Mexican jokes, I will try to put the non-Mexican one in the middle so I don't have 3 in a row at any point.
Yep.
It's still bad, but you don't want too many like in a row. I think just also speaking generally, and I know that's kind of Gabe's style, what he was doing in the first half, and he's usually very good at it. I don't think they connected this time, but everything he did in the second half, I wish he would focus a little bit more on that because those jokes were
incredible.
great. And you know what? In some cases, like, okay, so the catalytic converter, it was still a you look like joke. You look like a pickup truck, but it wasn't the same structure of you look like a pickup truck, went into Spencer's Gifts and then did, ketamine off the bathroom sink or whatever, right? Like a Mad Lib.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the first 3 jokes were, like you said, a Mad Lib where it was like fill in fictional character, fill in what movie it would have been.
Yeah.
There's the joke. The other thing, like, which I'm sure we've talked about, but I don't think we've talked about on the pod in a long time, is where to end your joke, which there were a couple moments where he added words after the punchline, and like in writing, but especially in a roast battle, you got to end at the funny part. Yeah. And sometimes that means reworking the joke so that the joke is the last word that you're said. But like he said, Fiona locked in a hot topic instead of a castle. You didn't even need instead of a castle. We know who Fiona is. So just hot topic is the punchline. End on that.
Yeah.
That was just one of those. I'm like, we could revisit and tell people that.
Yeah. It's weird because I felt like the battle never got the momentum going as far as like a completed product. Like let's say this, if it was half of the battle and it was Jess's first half against Gabe's second half and it was only 4 or 5 jokes long, I think that's one of the better battles we would have ever seen. But because I felt like they never got sort of that momentum going at the exact same time, it came up a little bit short for me. Still had so many really good moments, but I think that's why it's number 4 this week. Because on paper, those two, when the Chicago guys were like, use this one.
Yeah.
Before I even clicked it, I was like, well, it's probably going to be 1 or 2. And they just weren't firing at the exact same time. It was really interesting, though. But both great battlers.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent analysis.
Thank you very much. So Jess Misitano, May 27th, Vulcan Gas Company. If you're in Austin, come check her out. Let's move to the number 3 battle this week. We go to the Golden State, California, not L.A., another week without LA on the rankings. We're going up to the Bay Area. They've been hot recently, putting on a lot of events. They had 4 events in the last, I think, like 9 days, all in different cities in the Bay Area. Shout out to Josh Means, who's doing a great, great, great job with Roast Battle Bay Area. This is a fun battle. This is from their recent show at Cobb's. in San Francisco. Artie Valenzuela, we know Artie, we've seen him before, versus someone that I think I might have seen before, but I'm not 100% sure. Connor Lonsdale. That ring any bells?
Maybe at the face. Faces are way better for me than names.
He's a white dude.
That
Just
definitely
a
does.
generic white dude. And he battled against Artie Valenzuela, who is one of our favorites. And it was a hell of a fight. Number 3 this week, Bay Area, Artie versus Connor. Here it is.
Give it up for Connor one more time, guys. With Connor, you really get what you see. Connor's hair gives stepdad in the front and child support in the back. I'd like to start off by thanking Artie for making his way above ground for this. Unfortunately, his appearance here tonight means we're going to see 3 more weeks of winter. Connor's going to call me a lot of rodent things because that's what he lives with. Connor's actually from the Bay Area, even though he kind of looks like he's from the swamp area. Swamp area. Dude, you look like... You look like when they took the mask off of Darth Vader. Only Darth Vader is half man, half machine, and you're just half man. Artie has the body of a baby. Right down to the soft spot on his head. And the soft spot on his stomach. And the soft spot on his back. And the soft spot on his arms and legs. And the soft spot, on this part right here. In his face. In his neck. And the soft spot on his ankles. He's fat. That joke was kind of like his hair. It started off strong and it really tailed off. That's a rebuttal. You got a joke? No. Wait. I thought that was just a rebuttal. You want a joke? No, I can't say a joke if you want to hear more shit about you. That a rebuttal. You can keep going. Okay. Connor, I know he's going to talk about me being Asian and stuff, when he really looks like he screams, "Kumite!" when he comes. Penis down. Artie married his high school sweetheart, which, of course, look at him. I would have popped the question of the first person that agreed to fuck me if I was a half-retarded blind midget. I just think he's lucky that he found a woman who is roly-poly amorous. No, we got one more. Thank you, Danny McBrideless. Connor wears a fanny pack to hold all of his important stuff, like vapes, American Spirits, and a baseball card of Mark McGwire that he says is a picture of his dad. How hard it was to write jokes about Artie, because he looks so easy to roast, like a suckling pig. But something you fucked before. No, it's warm, it's soft, it's wet. Now, Artie told me that him and his wife are Disney adults. And I was like, dude, you don't have to tell me that, just, you're only court ordered to inform your neighbors. to Disneyland. He got kicked out of the park. Yeah, the park officials, they didn't like that so many kids were following him around because they wanted to get their picture taken with a minion. That's not even Disney, you son of a bitch. That's why they didn't want you there. All right, everybody.
So fucking good. I can't believe that's number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I will let you, as the resident Disney adult,
Oh,
start us off. What do you think?
okay. I have so many thoughts, but it ended on Disney, and that just made me fired up. But like when it started, I literally in my head was like, I can't believe this is number 3. What are going to be the other 2? This I already loved Artie. I love him so much more after this one for all of the reasons. Connor, I'm pretty sure I've never seen because I would have remembered that mullet.
The mullet, yeah.
Okay, that out of the way. I thought Connor like started out really, really strong, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? Like, and he ended just as strong, but I thought like at first it was like, oh, Artie, but then Artie came back so hard, and every little comeback and the soft spot joke that Connor had was such a great try, but such an epic failure that like I felt like I was watching the slowest death I've ever seen. And I was like, oh, he left on a silver platter, like a shitty joke comeback, and Artie fucking destroyed it out of the park with like the chef's kiss response to that. And he played it correctly by letting that be the joke. And I think Connor was so like caught off guard by how spectacularly his joke failed, and then by how spectacular Artie's rebuttal was, that he wanted more time and was like, you have to do a joke now too. And Artie's like, nah, bitch, you follow that comeback, which is what you should do, because comebacks are really hard to follow. So make your opponent do it. That's what I tell people anyway. So those are my initial thoughts.
Well, I knew this was like a delicious gumbo of all the things that
it had
you
everything.
like. Yeah, and all the things that you like to talk about kind of specifically. We just got done in the last battle where there was a joke where you're like, you're adding words after the punchline. And then the soft spot joke was exactly that. I understand why he did it.
Yes.
I understand what he was going for.
100%.
But he did open the door. It's a risky move. And he opened the door, and Artie burst right through that motherfucker with the perfect rebuttal that was specific to him because it was about the hair. It wasn't a generic. Artie was on point with the rebuttals and everything like that. But the thing about... Look, I've seen this in Roast Battle before where one of the battlers tries playing referee in the middle of the thing. And they get into the semantics. And nothing... to me, is less entertaining in a roast battle than somebody throwing a flag and being like, no, actually, that was my rebuttal. I didn't do my joke. That, to me, it takes me out of the moment. It breaks the fourth wall. And I think it generally sucks. But usually when people do it, it is because they are worried about the other person stepping on their joke and them losing one of their 5.
Right.
They wrote 5 jokes. They feel the need to step in and stop and be like, hey, here's the rules. I have another joke. It sucks, but I understand it.
Yep.
This was the first time I ever saw somebody call the other person out for just doing a rebuttal, which, by the way, there's no written rule book, but we always tell new battlers perfectly within the rules. If you have a rebuttal that crushes, why would you try to add another joke?
Yep.
It was a vet move by Artie, and to me, it kind of took me out of it a little bit on that whole run of Connor's joke not hitting, Artie's rebuttal crushing, and then Connor being kind of like the rules police was the turning point in the battle for me.
100%. Yep. I thought Connor came out so strong, and I was like, oh shit,
The Groundhog Day shit was incredible.
so good. And like the tag was just like,
Yep.
yeah. And then that was the turning point in the battle, which is just...
And to be clear, turning point because Artie continued performing at a high level.
Yes.
Because Connor got back there.
100%.
Connor's ending with the Disney stuff, although Artie, it's so funny to see somebody who has just crushed and they're riding that wave of momentum, and then they could do the, like, Minions aren't even Disney, you son of a bitch, and that gets a big laugh.
That was my favorite moment because literally my brain went the same thing. I was like, they're not Disney, so... I was very upset about it.
As a
and the fact that
non-Disney
he
adult,
said it
yeah.
and called it out, I was like, oh my God, you're my favorite now.
Artie's so precious. When he came down here for the Jam in the Van, LA versus
Yes.
the Bay, he went to Legoland 2 days in a row.
No, I love
It's
him so
another
much.
100 miles from here. And he's just like, yeah, he went like the day of the battle and the day after.
Incredible.
Amazing. But a hell of a roast battler. Really enjoy everything I see out of Artie. This was my favorite Artie performance to date.
For hands down.
So
Yeah.
good. Just complete control of the stage. Connor, the written jokes I thought were outstanding.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Connor. I am excited to see more of him. And I think it's hands down, this was Artie's best battle. I believe we said that the last time we watched him.
Probably.
And so I'm just so stoked at like how quickly he's improving, like how much he's improving. Like every time we're like, whoa, best thing ever. Like, so man, he's going to be unstoppable.
And I might say the same thing about the Bay Area. There was a lot of hype heading into the season about Chicago, about Austin. Of course, LA, we've been doing this for 10 years. New York's been doing it for 8 or 9 years. I think Bay Area kind of got lost in the shuffle, and they have really been kicking ass recently, and it's exciting to see. They
Yeah.
could be a dark horse candidate, and we're going to look at the standings at the end, but they have shot up the rankings. It's been impressive.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like LA is like the old whore at the brothel, you know? Like she's just tired and
We talked about this the 2 weeks that you used.
you know, where you're like, in her prime she was good, but like
Sure.
now she's just a novelty.
Yeah, absolutely. We are the who was the famous hooker that Charlie Sheen was with?
The only one I can
Heidi
think of is
Fleiss,
Oh.
right? Most famous hooker of all time. LA is the Heidi Fleiss of the Roast Battle League.
Yeah, like very respectable, but like it's time for the young guns to do it now.
You should have seen us in the late 80s, bro. We were
Man,
fucking killing
so
shit
good.
out here. LA's got a lot of work to do to catch up with these other cities, and the Bay Area is a dark horse candidate to make the playoffs. Great job.
100%.
Keep it up, guys. Now let's go to Tokyo.
Woo!
The debut of Tokyo during this Roast Battle League season. Of course, we said at the beginning of the year, if you're only running one event a month, you can, submit those battles for up to 4 weeks. Tokyo finally had their first event, and it was a great one. They sent me all the battles. I watched them all. I enjoyed them. This was my favorite from the event. This features 2 battlers who will be participating in the LA versus Tokyo event. We don't have the matches locked down yet, but these guys will both be going up, perhaps against us. We don't know. This is Evans Musoka from Kenya going up against Jay Yamaki. And it's from Tokyo, and here it is, number 2.
Evans! Jay! Let's roast!
Okay, so here's a traditional Maasai dance from Kenya. Also the same impression of Evans trying to look at the top shelf of his fridge.
Jay's a good friend of mine. He thinks he looks like Jesus. I mean, I agree. The only thing that shouts more Jesus is you not knowing who your real father is.
I like the, I said this before, so apologies to guys if you've already heard it, but I don't mind being called Jesus. It just means I'm well hung. Kind of like your ancestors after the British invaded. But anyway, so Evans came to Japan from Kenya because he wanted maids instead of AIDS.
I got both now.
And for those of you who want to know what he looked like before he came to Japan, I brought this life-size replica.
Jay supports the Ukraine in the war. You can tell from his yellow teeth and blue eyes. He's trying to change his blue passport because since marrying a Japanese wife, his passport matches his balls.
Thank you, Evans. That leads me nicely into my next joke, which is, Hey, okay. Thanks, JJ. So Evans teaches English, which is probably the most offensive thing you'll hear all night. I mean, I could leave it there, honestly, but I mean, you're supposed to, like, when you teach English in this country, you're supposed to get a degree. You're supposed to go through university, not UNICEF.
$1 a day, guys. Just $1 a day to keep me alive. Please, $1 a day, please. I haven't eaten Jay's wife for 2 weeks, okay? Jay is actually married, guys. Yeah, and he's a white man married to a Japanese. Coming from a fucked up third world country and I'm not married to a Japanese, I made it, guys. He's worse than me, you know. But, you know, Jay tells everyone that he has OCD. What the fuck is that, man? OCD. I had to confirm. I had to talk to the wife because, you know, Jay's kid is black, so you know what I mean. I asked the wife, what does OCD mean? And say, no, actually, Jay doesn't have OCD. He has a HSD. I'm like, what the fuck is HSD? She was like, Honton is Morodik.
Thank you. Evans has OCD. He's OCD, overly confident dickhead. So, I mean, Kenya is an independent country now. Hey! In fact, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the only part of Kenya where white still dominates black is Evan's teeth on his face. You look like you escaped Africa by biting through your chains.
Jay works. He used to work as a translator for adult films. Reason why we stopped watching Japanese porn, you know what I mean? Yeah, Jay. Oh my goodness, this is bad, Jay. Sorry. Jay has done a lot of good work. If you want to see some of his work, just go to Pornhub and type 2 black men destroying a tiny Japanese woman, and you'll see me and Troy fucking Jay's wife.
Thank you, the tokens. I didn't know you could read. Well done. The last time Evans performed oral sex in Japan, he was arrested because over here it's illegal to perform female genital mutilation. If you want to know what it looked like, here's the perspective from the vagina.
That's a good one, eh? That's a good one. That's a good one. Jay tries to be Japanese so hard. He's called Jay Yamaki. Right? Bullshit. Took his wife's name, his wife's visa. Like, Jay... This is a bad one again. I'm sorry, Jay. No, I forgot that joke, guys. One more time. Jay took his wife's name, his wife's diet, which means he cut out all the carbs, he cut out all the sugar, and every Friday he cuts his hands when he bombs at a comedy show.
Yeah, Evans teaches English, guys.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there.
Uh-huh.
Take us through it. What do you think?
Oh man, I had so many thoughts. First of all, I guess the thing that jumps out in my head immediately is the prop with the teeth was so funny to me.
Best prop-based joke in roast battle history.
I could, because it was, everything about it was perfect. From the joke, the setup, the punch, the ridiculousness of the prop itself. Like, in no world would anyone predict that was going to happen.
How about the fact that he pulled them out and without even winding the thing, they were already chattering?
I don't.
Were they chattering in his pocket the entire battle?
God, please.
I don't know how he did that. That was some magic.
That's why he kept jumping, because it was biting his balls.
I completely agree. I lost it when he pulled those
So
teeth out.
good.
It was unreal. Yeah. What else?
I would have liked to have known more about Evans other than he's black.
Okay.
I feel like all of the jokes were racist about either him or Africa or like, and some of them were really good, but I didn't get to know anything about him other than he taught English and he's from Kenya. Like,
It's a roast battle classic, by
Where-
the way. Just going in on your opponent's race. But
100%.
Yeah.
But Evans had so many more jokes that covered a lot of topics about Jay, and I feel like I know a lot more about him. So I would have just liked to have more more variety of angles on Evans.
That's fair. I loved both of them. I think that there was a little head game towards the end that might have won the battle for Jay when he said, "I didn't know you could read." And then Evans, the next joke, put the paper down, and it was his first time not reading it off the paper, and he forgot what the joke was.
Yeah.
So I think Jay might have kung fu reversaled him into fucking up his own material, which was I don't think it's intention, but it worked out that way. Love both of their jokes. The Ukrainian shit from Evans about like his yellow teeth and blue eyes was outstanding. Really, they were both hitting for Jay. Jay does not give a fuck to do that.
No.
Like well hung, like your ancestors. Woo, buddy. I don't know about that one. That was for me. That was a lot.
That was what struck me, and my was like, man, that it. Whew, like same thing as you, and but where my brain went was when you don't know, like as an audience member, and you don't know the battler. Like this is the first time I've ever seen Jay.
Yeah.
It is so much scarier. Like, we've seen people do horrible jokes.
Sure.
You know, but because I know them and I'm like, I either whether personally or I've seen them before, I give them more leeway.
Right.
But then my brain went to, but none of the audience has ever seen them. So how do people see these jokes? And then it made me think about the Heather battle where it is so one-sided with the audience reaction. And I'm like, oh, that's probably why, because they don't know these people at all.
Yeah.
So when they're hearing a joke, this probably seems very obvious, but it just, as somebody who now intimately knows a lot of these people, whether personally again or just watching them all the time, like it's harder to separate and see them through fresh eyes. And when you see a joke like that, and I started to think like if somebody else that I knew had said that, would it have hit me differently?
Maybe. I mean, that's a fair question.
Also, I apologize for the rambling of
No.
that.
I think you're echoing.
way.
I'm sure a lot of people kind of had the same thought, or maybe some people are watching and they're like, "You guys are fucking pussies, dude. It's roast battle, anything." I get it. I've said some shit in my day too. So relax.
Yeah.
Whoever's saying that. I'm just saying for it to be like the second joke, for you to immediately come out with like a lynching joke. But then my favorite thing about it was, then he said, Evans teaches English, which is the most offensive thing you'll hear today. So it kind of made the other thing work, where it's like Evans being an English teacher is more offensive than like a slavery lynching kind of joke.
Right.
And I was like, damn, okay. And again, I don't know if that's a happy accident, if he kind of meant it to be that way or whatever, but it really kind of took the edge off the other thing. I think the fact that they were both having so much fun up there made it really good too. And they were hitting, I would say the hit rate was about 85-90% in that battle. There were very, very few misses.
I agree. And like the back and forth was so fun. Evans was a really great sport. Like he added to each joke and like if he hadn't laughed or then it would have really made Jay's jokes uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
But Evans did his part by playing into it. And yeah, I thought they were both very fun to watch. Evans's off-the-cuff remarks really tickled me.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember one right now, but there were a couple.
I know,
that, like,
sometimes in the
made
moment
me
you're
squeal.
laughing so hard when you're watching it, and then you're like, you have 30 jokes in your head when you start, and then you go to speak into the mic, and you're like, I forget what everybody said. I just know it was a
so
lot of
good.
fun.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. When he said he moved from Kenya to Japan because he wanted to have maids instead of AIDS.
Oh yes.
And he just goes, I have both now. Oh,
So yeah, that's the one that was the one that made me giggle the loudest. Like,
yeah.
it was so good.
Just outstanding. They were both great. Really looking forward to getting out there and seeing them live. Maybe competing against them. Who knows? We're gonna find out. Strong debut for Tokyo in this RBL season. The number 2 battle. They pick up 4 points. And speaking of strong debuts, last week there's another scene that is similar to Tokyo, running shows very infrequently. But they debuted last week in the number 1 spot. I'm talking about Australia. They had a battle that blew us away last week. It was outstanding. And this week they become the first city in the world to go back-to-back. Number 1 battle, 2 weeks in a row, each one worth 5 points. We're going to check the standings in a bit. But starting 2 weeks ago, they had 0 points. They've racked up 10 in 2 weeks. Very impressive. This is another great battle out of Australia. This is Sath Nadasan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, against Alan Fang. And number 1 battle this week. Check it out.
First off, I just want to thank Alan for taking time off sumo wrestling to be here tonight. I actually don't know what type of Asian Alan is, but I do know he's the one that eats the most rice.
Very, very predictable. I guess that Sath was going to make jokes about me being Asian and fat, but Sath's Buddhist. So Sath's biggest battle tonight will be fighting the urge to rub my belly for good luck.
Thank you, sweet and sour Porky Pig. Alan loves photography, which to me makes him the Asian version of an American, because he's fat, dumb, and loves shooting people.
It's true, I do take photos at comedy gigs, but when I take photos, it's because I'm paid to. When Sath takes photos, it's because he's required to show proof of delivery.
Kim Jong mentally ill. Alan's actually petrified of dogs. It's because he's currently on a diet.
I'm actually friends with Sath. Every time I go over to his house, he makes me take off my shoes out of respect for his family, who don't own shoes.
Okay, we'll see how this one goes. Alan, this is very true. Alan actually asked an autistic girl out on a date, and she said no. Apparently she said she didn't want to date a retard.
Sath's dad is dead.
Alan's dad's a virgin.
Sath's dad died drowning. The first time he was ever on a boat. When I heard that story, I thought, wow, Sath's dad, Sath's papa, dumb. Like a Weezer fan, which is ironic because that's the last sound his dad made while he was dying.
Alan's actually an actor. He's actually quite good. His next role is in the live-action Winnie the Pooh movie. The studio's going to save a lot of money because they don't have to paint him yellow.
Alright, how about this, right? Seth's sex life is a little like a game of cricket. It's boring. It can take up to 3 days to finish. And he has to wait for 9 guys before it's his turn.
I mean, I love a good cricket joke.
Sure. Fire out of Australia. 2 weeks in a row. Number one battle. I know you didn't see last week. Last week was arguably even better than this one, and this one was nonstop hits front to back. I have a couple of thoughts, but I want to give you the first crack at it. What were your takeaways from the battle?
The first thing that stuck out to me was a very original jokes like that I've never heard, and I was from both of them.
Yep.
And I was really impressed with that, like just consistent, maybe even like angles that we've heard, but totally different ways of approaching them. I really enjoyed the originality of the jokes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the two things that jumped out at me, I mean, beyond just the joke writing, which I thought was great, even breathing new life into the thank you so-and-sos, like Sweet and Sour Porky Pig is one of my favorite one of those I've heard in a long, long time. I have long ago became jaded to those thank you so-and-sos because I've heard a million of them, and so often they're just lazy puns.
Yeah.
And Sweet and Sour Porky Pig got me going. It was great. The two things that jumped out at me, number one, this is the second Australian battle in a row where the crowd in the middle of an all-time classic battle started booing. And then they come right back around and they're fine. And nobody loses momentum. It's almost tongue-in-cheek, like the Australian crowd is like, we've been laughing really hard at the funny ones. That one sucked. Boo. And then they hit another funny one. They're like, all right, we're back on board. And I love that.
I couldn't agree more. I was like, man, I want that immediate feedback. Like, the only thing that bummed me out, which we already talked about off camera, was I have no idea what he said. And our producer doesn't, Pat doesn't know. So no idea what the joke was. Really wish I did because I don't know why it was booed.
Yeah, I can't tell if they had a visceral reaction because it was too mean,
right?
Or if it was just a bad joke.
Which I think that's why I want to know.
Yeah.
Because if it was a bad joke and they booed, that makes it even better than like if it was just too mean.
And that's what and I can't imagine it's too mean because then he followed it up with the Weezer thing.
Right.
And they laughed at that.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it's just a bad joke. And they were like, we're gonna laugh uproariously at the 9 good ones, and the one bad one, we're gonna let you know it stunk.
Which
we cut you no slack.
I
You've
love
been
it
crushing
so
the whole
much.
time. Me too. It's outstanding.
Australians are the best, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I want to get out there and battle, but I'm terrified. That whole I
don't want to be booed.
I don't want to be booed, and also they're battlers. We've seen 2 of them now, and they're just killers, like outstanding joke writers. The other thing that struck me is we talked in the last battle about how Evans was like laughing and he's going along with it and making it a good battle. Alan had the exact opposite. I don't think Alan laughed once. Alan meant business. And this can work too. This is more, I feel like, my natural reaction on stage. And I try hard to laugh and seem like I'm having a good time. But like, Alan gave off this vibe, like, this is what I do. This is where I belong. I'm really fucking good at this. I'm here to kick this guy's ass and then go home.
Yeah.
Just straight professional. Here are my jokes. You're going to laugh. He's going to laugh. And then I'm just going to stand here and look kind of unimpressed with whatever he says.
Yeah.
And boy, did it came across great in this battle, I thought.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know if this was intentional, but like even the way he dressed was very like literally buttoned up. Like so many buttons all the way to the top.
All the way, yeah.
Just all the buttons. And so it added so much to like his like rigidness, but like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Not like bad, unrelatable rigidness of just very like, I'm here for business.
Yeah.
And my business is smackdown jokes.
Absolutely. And last week on Australia, the same thing happened with, and I was talking to Doug about it when he filled in for you last week, letting your opponent do a joke that's okay, and then just pausing and letting it marinate. And then he followed it up with, Seth's dad is dead. There was one of those last week, too, where just the setup blew the room up. Because it's like, okay, you're gonna make this like cutesy little joke. I'm gonna like hit you with an overhand right immediately after. And the juxtaposition is like crazy. And it was timed perfectly. He didn't rush into it. He let it breathe. It was just outstanding.
I think that's something that I couldn't pinpoint before, but when we were watching this, that occurred to me of like sometimes those so-and-so's dad is dead or like we've had those moments several times on this show where just saying that explodes the audience. And I think you're exactly right. It's when it follows either a mediocre joke or a really silly one. It's that left turn of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know? And
yeah. Kitty gloves off. We're going to start throwing haymakers here.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things about Roast Battle is those sharp turns where you're like, what just happened? I feel unsafe and also delighted.
It's great. And you can't, that's the thing I like about it also is like there's so much planning that goes into a roast battle, your jokes, your rebuttals, the order that you put them in, everything like that, your demeanor, what you wear on stage. All of it is this carefully orchestrated thing. And then sometimes you just luck out and the person does this in the exact spot where it makes that hit bigger. And like, yeah, I just love that shit. And I love everything I'm seeing out of Australia so far. I mean, just outstanding work, right down to the like multiple camera angles and the, it's just crisp and clear and shot really well. That is my favorite, I think, of our new cities this season so far.
Yeah, I just, the thing in my brain that keeps going is why is Australia the best?
Because they're
just at everything. I feel like the people are always the nicest. Like they have all the cool, terrifying animals. Like
yeah. Well, I think it's just part of the culture. For roasting, I think like children are brought up to like roast each other, and it's ball busting, and there's a term of endearment out there. You know what I mean? Like they're just constantly, ragging on each other, and boy, it translates. And also one thing we saw out of Tokyo too. Tokyo had, a guy from Kenya up there battling. Jay, I believe, is American. In Australia, you had Seth, who I believe is an Indian. And then, Alan, who is Asian. These guys are kind of drawing, some of the funniest people from all over that side of the globe, which is really, really cool to see. That was the 5 for this week. Cody, do we have the standings we could take a quick look at? All right. Oh, they're up. Look at this.
Yeah.
Let's start with the international standings. London has been sort of the runaway winner so far this season. Last week, they accumulated a giant lead with 14 points. Australia comes out of nowhere, and in 2 weeks, they are now within striking distance and right now in possession of that second playoff spot. Just goes to show you don't have to run shows every week as long as the battles are of that high quality. If you have the funniest people, the funny always rises to the top. Scotland is still a sleeper pick for me. I loved what they gave us early in the season. They have another event coming up. I'm excited to see what they have. And on the U.S. side, you can see this is as close as it gets. Right now, 3-way tie atop the leaderboard. Austin and Chicago, I think we all kind of expected them to be there. Bay Area coming out of nowhere. Right in line with the Sacramento Kings season. I'll explain that later as well. And then New York, who was number 1 last week, drops all the way to number 4, just based on the surges of the other 3 cities. LA currently sitting in that 5th spot. We have a lot of work to do. I'm not going to put you on the spot here because I know we can't do this every week where it's like, who do you think is going to take it? But I'm excited to see the standings, especially in the U.S., where I feel like nobody has really established themselves as the top dog. My prediction is, as the season moves along, we're a quarter of the way through it now, somebody will, I don't know who, but somebody is going to be like, all right, we're going to win this shit.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. All right. This is always the part of the show where I say a lot, and then Sarah's like, agreed. And we awkwardly sign off. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week with more great battles on RBL Weekly. Pat Barker.
Sarah Keller.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.